Yeah, welcome everyone. This is Denise Ramirez. She's our voice, piano, and violin teacher. She's always racking in students. All the students love her, so we're gonna do a nice Q&A interview with her today. So first off, like, what made you get into music? How did that all begin?
Ooh. Yeah, so I guess just starting when I was younger, I don't know, my family was always they never did music lessons on their own or took music and or so, but they were always like interested in it. And so I guess
Mm.
when we were younger, they felt like okay, they need a kind of like a hobby kind of deal. And then I remember my mom telling me that I was always like dancing and loving music as a kid, so she felt like that was going to be a good hobby. So I just kind of got put into it and then was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is fun, this is something I find myself naturally inclined towards. So yeah, just
Mm.
kind of doing that. Started doing classically trained piano, and then violin. Um, and then yeah, and then just like singing along with like records. I just mostly did like singing along in the car whenever I like heard stuff on the radio. And then as I got older, joined like choirs and a cappella
Yeah.
groups and had that kind of coaching growing up. So
That's interesting you said that because I really started music that way too.
yeah.
I learned theory and all that stuff later on.
Hmm.
But yeah, when I first started drumming, I would throw on Red Hot Chili Peppers. By the way, that album first came out,
Yeah.
um, and plugged it into my like super. I still have those electric drums. It's like those were like when they first came out, but I would just plug it in and like
Nice.
play to my favorite songs, and that's how I kind
Yeah.
of learned. I took drum lessons, but he knew I'm not. I know you're very good with math. I'm not amazing at math. So when I started to get into music theory when I was younger,
Hmm.
um, it was just a little bit of a learning curve. But once I grew up older, it was more easier for me to understand. But
Right.
when I first started, um, I was always learning by ear, learning my favorite songs. I think that's super
Right.
important. Um, Especially like here at our school, since we're teaching music lessons, it's always good to teach them like breathing techniques, all that stuff. Let's say if it's a voice lesson,
Yeah.
like breathing exercise, and then you'll get to the singing your favorite songs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, but everyone has their different way of
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
cool.
I think that's like super important too. Like everyone is gonna be inclined to like pick it up a different way because just their brain,
Mhm.
different sides of the brain work that way. So it's like it's important too to like think of like how, especially like personalized. Like, oh, I see that they're picking this up, so we're gonna try to like explain it in this way. Like,
Yeah.
um, maybe they'll conceptualize it better if they think about it in this way. But yeah, I totally see what like as a kid too, like learning the theory and stuff for that. I was like, oh,
Mm.
really? Like,
Yeah.
I just wanna, I just wanna jam out already. Come on, like,
Yeah, right. I almost like felt like I had dyslexia sometimes when I was like reading theory
yes,
because drums, of course, like I had to like learn like basic music theory, but actually drum theory is really
mm-hmm.
different. So it's all there's a lot of like paradiddles they call it, which is
Yeah,
like syncopation between right and left hand.
right,
So sometimes like when I imagine being a 9-year old, it's being right, right, left, 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 right, right, or right, left, right, left, right, left, left. So I had
yeah,
but it helped you improve like your motor skills, coordination, and like all kinds of other stuff,
right,
which is great. Cool.
right.
So how long have you been singing? I guess
Uh,
since you're young.
yeah. I mean, I got started in like a church choir, kind of deal, going to church with my parents when I was younger. Just like one of those youth groups, and then
Mhm.
I guess I didn't really have anything. Like we had a very, very basic choir in my middle school. It was a small middle school, so didn't really have any like music program. Very small.
Mhm.
But I think in high school we had a really good choir. We went on like competitions, and that's kind of when I started getting more focused on like the actual techniques and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So and we had a really great choir director. Yeah, he was like he just took the time to really like explain stuff and like proper breathing techniques, and it felt almost like having like a voice teacher for like, and it was just a lot of like good techniques. It wasn't like anything I was used to beforehand. Yeah, and so then I once I kept doing that, just because I had a little past history of music, I was able to like pick up a lot of this stuff very quickly. um Joined the chamber choir for the high school, and then moved on. Yeah, so I guess, I mean, for like as long as I can remember, just been involved in singing stuff. And then in college doing choir again, a
Yeah.
cappella. And that got even more focused into like, okay, we're breathing and like doing these specific things to like blend with people, and there's just so many concepts to like learn
Yeah.
into. It's like, it's crazy how much you can do with your like your body, your voice box being your instrument, like so
Yeah. It's
much.
like a whole other instrument.
It really
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
That's neat. And we know you do voice, we know you sing. So you're a really good pianist. So did that start out first, or how did that
Yes,
all kind of work
that
out?
was the very first one. So I think when I was 6, I started taking lessons. Yeah. So that actually, my mom told me pretty relatively recently that it was dance classes first, because it was just like a
Yeah.
one of those like ballet lessons, like as a
Yeah.
4-year-old you're doing, and
Mhm.
then and then someone in her like one of the moms in the group, one of the dance moms was like, "Oh, you should put them in like music lessons. It'll help with that." And then I just
Mhm.
ended up just sticking with the music lessons. That was more fun to me. So yeah, that was like around like 6 years old or so. I was really really young, but it was a
Wow.
classical training. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of been there forever.
That's cool. Yeah, I remember 6. That's young, because I started drums maybe 8 or 9, but 6. At that age, I was like hitting pots and pans still. So
Yeah.
like that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, piano's incredible. I mean, I know like basic piano, but not like classical level like you. You're just like almost shredding on the
I
piano,
shred.
like when you're pretty cool.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's fun.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. What kind? Before I go to the next question, what kind of
Mhm.
style do you like playing the most on piano? Like jazz, classical, or a combination?
Um, I'm sorry to all the jazz fans out there. I do not like jazz piano. I I thought it was interesting and there was a lot to learn from it.
Yeah,
But if I had to pick one, that would not be it. It would
yeah,
probably, as far as piano wise, like I think piano, like classical piano for me is one of my favorites to play. Um, and obviously I like, it requires a different type of piano playing when you're singing too. So I guess if I was moving more into like a singing realm, like,
Mhm.
I mean, I enjoy doing like pop, like the top 40, like
Sure.
R&B kind of like stuff. Um, it's a different kind of style. You have the different types of chords and stuff, and you're not playing like runs and stuff. But if I was just to stick with like piano stuff, definitely like, and within classical music you have so many different types of genres too. You have like the classical period, you have the like
Yeah,
romantic period, you have, and I don't know, I've always been like a huge Chopin, Debussy fan, so
nice.
those are my favorites. Yeah, so I actually have like specific books sitting here. I'm just like, ooh, yeah, like those are my go-tos, like the Chopin, Debussy, like anything just like fun, pretty, like
Do you mind
like
showing the books? Do you have it like
showing the
right?
books.
Yeah, yeah.
I do, yeah.
Let's do it. Let's see it. Let's see your theory book tour.
I have post-its to where my favorites are, so I know where to go
Nice.
right away.
Yeah, that's
But
cool.
yes, yeah, always
Good stuff.
finding, yeah, sheet music to like print out and learn new stuff. So never stop learning.
Yeah, it's interesting because you have when it comes like on the music production side, like there's a lot of things you can do. I mean, you really don't have to go to studio nowadays. You can have your
Mhm.
laptop, your MIDI keyboard.
Right.
It's just amazing. I always people always approach me, hey, I want to get into music production. What do I do? Learn piano.
Yeah.
Reason why the MIDI keyboard's kind of like your studio. You have the
Right.
softwares and everything like that on the laptop, but it's all like hip hop. Of course, hip hop, the biggest genre right now, it's all piano driven. They make a lot of the beats off of like keyboards and beat pads and things like that. Um, so yeah, I always just recommend for any producers out there, like learn some music theory, learn some piano, because you'll go farther than the guy who's just chopping up loops.
Yeah.
and sampling stuff all the time. You can make original
Right.
stuff.
That
Um,
totally makes sense. Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Like
And there's
right using.
it's funny because ever since, I mean, there's always been piano and music, but now you're hearing pop hits that are almost imitations of old classical songs.
Yes.
Just like that. What's that Maroon 5 one? I can't sing it right now. I forgot it. It's
Is
out of
it
my
the one
head.
that sounds like the graduation song? Maybe.
Yes.
That's like the
Yes.
canon based off of Canon and D. Like
Yes.
all of them
Yeah.
are
So it's
based off each
almost,
other.
yeah. And reason why, what's interesting about that, those songs are so old that
Yeah.
the copyrights expired. So
Oh
you're
yeah.
now allowed to use like those songs. I think it's pretty interesting.
Exactly. It's yeah.
Um, and it's smart too because I know Maroon 5. I know all the marketing they do. They probably
Uh,
released it before graduation and all that kind of stuff.
yeah. Oh yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
everyone played it.
Yep.
Cool,
Yep.
good stuff. So we know you're a singer. We know you do pianist and stuff. When it comes like to the professional side, what made you turn to that? How did that kind of happen?
Well, I mean, I think as any musician can attest to, it's not the easiest profession to get
Mm-hmm.
into, and you do it because you really enjoy it, you love doing it, and, that's what you want to focus on. And that was always a struggle, especially like going to college and like trying to
Yeah.
figure out what I was gonna do. Like I always knew I loved music, but I was like, all right, realistically, like, can I make this work? And I know I just always kept that in the back of my mind. And I actually went to college for accounting. Ended up getting my MBA there, and I
That's
decided that
useful though.
it is really useful.
Yeah.
And then just like a couple years into it, I was like, I'm not, if I'm not, my heart's not in it, and I'm not like
Yeah.
really like focused on it, like
Of course.
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do my best,
Mm-hmm.
so. And I mean, I did okay, but
Yeah.
but like but I decided, you know what, like music is a thing, is what I can do, and like I really want to do it, and I'm gonna put my all into it. And so just ended up just deciding, you know what, I'm gonna, go for it. And
Yeah.
I ended up like starting to do some little piano gigs here and there in New York City, where I was living at the time. And then I ended up, after getting a little bit of practice doing that, just finding Howl at the Moon, which is where I play at now. And that actually helped me like propel it a lot more into like a career. So for anyone who doesn't know, Howl at the Moon is a dueling piano bar. And so basically the gist of it is audience gives you requests, and you play the piano and sing to them. So, and you have to, a lot of it is like building up your repertoire, and like, I don't know, kind of also building your ear skill. So if you
Mm-hmm.
did like, you've never played it before, you could try to pick it up, and a lot of that. So that, like, having that and knowing that that was there is like okay, this is like a real job. Like I go to work as a pianist now, like it's not
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm doing this as a hobby now. Like you're doing this. And so yeah, that actually like was a huge step in like propelling that forward. So now we're just continuing. Not, I mean, I'm not at Howl right now because of the coronavirus, but
Mm-hmm.
I've still been like working on, playing new songs, learning new songs, and have my own Twitch streaming channel where I play a bunch of songs. And yeah, and then also teaching here. So it's blown into a big kind of thing. So
Yeah. That's
yeah,
awesome. Good
yeah.
stuff. Cool. And so yeah, basically like you started the professional side of your music career in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of New York, there's lots of cool venues and stuff. So what is the best show you've performed, or I guess your most favorite show so far?
Ooh,
It doesn't have
most
to be, it could be big, small, house
All
party,
right.
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, best best show that I've ever performed. Um, I mean, honestly, the best nights that I've had have been probably playing with people, and that's the best part of music, I think. Like, um, especially like it's such a collaborative effort. Like
Mm,
when you're with the people that you're playing with, and you do is just connect with them on like you like become friends with them. Like there's a whole nother level like of just like appreciating the music, making the music together. It's kind of like magical, honestly. And I don't know, the best nights have been with people who I just like really really care about, and like, you know, we make the best kind of music together. Not necessarily, you know, like the biggest shows or like the most important venues. Like I've honestly like I have performed at Carnegie Hall and stuff. I mean, those were cool. It was honestly an honor and like
Nice.
amazing show. And
Yeah.
actually, that ended up being one of my most special nights, because I was performing honestly with my sister, and it was like I'm sharing this moment with my sister. You know, we were playing in
Wow.
a piano trio together. She was playing the violin and I was playing piano, and
Damn. Cool.
yeah, it was a crazy cool experience. Yeah, I'm like honestly like thinking back to it, I'm like, whoa, like
Just trying to think. There's a
like
lot. Yeah. That's
yeah,
cool.
like yeah. But yeah, honestly, just like the best moments have just been with like when you're with people that, you know, you're making the best kind of music, and that just you feel it, you know, you feel that, and like
That moment.
that energy reads across to people so much. And it's one of
It's
the
almost
huge,
like an ecstasy feeling from
yeah,
like a
yeah,
whoa.
like a natural kind of high. Yeah,
Yeah.
like you feel that energy, and it's yeah, it's one of the
Cool.
best reasons for performing music, honestly, those that feelings.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my God. Yeah. It's funny. Like you can have like the worst day and blah blah blah. Car breaks down, whatever. But then you go play a show, and all that's
yeah,
gone all of a
for
sudden.
sure.
And people, it's fine because like there's like the non-musicians, they explain, you're like, oh yeah, I'm sure it's cool. It's like, no, dude, it's like therapeutic. Like it's gonna
Yeah,
be really incredible. You know, especially you play
yeah,
at like Carnegie Hall, you probably felt so good when you left the stage,
yeah,
um, and all that stuff. So cool.
yeah,
Um, Speaking of that, since we're dealing with this pandemic and all this kind of stuff, there's a lot of musicians um, that are not touring anymore, that are not um, just maybe half their income's that day right now, or they're not touring, they miss it, they don't know what to do. It's been over two
right.
months. So what are you as an artist and musician, what are some ways that you deal with I guess like, or just advice and tips for musicians like dealing with anxiety and things like that during these quarantine
Oh
times?
yeah, yeah. It's certainly like a struggle. Like everyone's, especially there's a sense of loss and job security. There's so many things
Mm-hmm.
going on, like a sense of like, and especially as a musician, like when you're working, that's such a your job is such a huge part of what defines you as a musician. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're that's you that's going out there, you know, like um you're putting a lot of like emotions in this job field, you know, like it's not
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, obviously you can say about whatever you want about like a 9 to 5 job, you know, you put your all into that too, but it's a little bit different because there's a lot more like emotional output put into something like this. So um I would have to say, I don't know, a lot of this is a good time to be like, I don't know, kind of sitting in that there, you know, there's a lot of feelings. I've been practicing a lot more classical piano because that makes me feel better. It's therapeutic
Yeah.
for me. And it allows me to express, you know, be in those emotions, and it's totally okay to be in those emotions. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's a huge part of destigmatizing, I guess, a lot of um, you know, mental tumult that anyone might be going through right now, you know. um, and a lot of people are going through it. So you know, just feel your emotions, you know. You have, and this is one of the best outlets to do it in, playing piano, playing the guitar, doing singing, you know, whatever instrument or outlet you choose to use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me personally, I've been playing a lot of classical music just because that makes me it, and especially like Chopin, like it's a very
Mm-hmm.
like feely music. So it's really easy to just be like, okay, I'm in my feels right now, you know, like um, and I don't know, it's also a good way to, you know, you're working on your musical skills and working on when things get back to normal, you know, like there's hope for that in the future, and you're gonna come back out of there, and you know, hopefully you come out of there, if you're practicing and stuff like that, like it's only gonna help,
Yeah.
in every way, I think. So that would be my advice, or I don't know, anything I have to say
Yeah,
about
advice and tips. No, I love it. That's great. Yeah.
yeah.
That's great, because like you're doing so much, like going for jogs or whatever, staying active. That's super important too. Like I go for a walk every day, no matter what. Well, today it's beautiful, but there's just been like
Yeah.
being in Texas, you know, there's like these random storms that come and just
Oh
like
yeah.
ruins your day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, like it's a very general question, but what
Yeah.
inspires you every day? Like when you wake up, what inspires you?
Ooh. Ooh. What a question. I don't even know sometimes. No, I just I don't like, I think, ooh. I mean, it changes all the time. Obviously,
Yeah.
we all have things that inspire us differently, depending on how we're feeling and what we feel like working on today. For me, when I get up in the morning, usually I'm just like, all right, here's my day, here's my like next 24 hours, you know, and like what can I do with them, you know, and like if it's, you know, if today is going to be a day of like I'm going to sit here and work, you know, like you know, work on my Twitch account, you know, I'm going to work on, you know,
Mhm.
practicing some new pieces, or it could even just be like, you know, today is a day to work on, you know, my brain, and you know, we're going to just have a mental health day, you know, we're just going to sit, maybe listen to some music, take a bath, I don't know, just like have a glass of wine, watch some TV, like, and you know, every day is different. But I think at the end of the day, it's always like at the end of the day, I'm inspired to be a better version of myself at the end of the day, you know. That's the most you can do, is just keep, you know, being a better version of yourself, and
Yeah,
you can take
totally.
that in any direction you want it to, whatever you think is a better version of yourself, but that's usually what I feel inspired by.
Yeah. Love it. Cool.
Yeah.
So since we're professionals, I wanted to just ask, like, let's say if there's someone, she or he is trying to get their first gig being a singer, or have the first gig as a band. So what kind of advice do you have for basically like a starting out musician or singer that's ready to dive into the professional world?
I'd say find your people, like and especially starting out, you're going to need so much help from people, so you know, take everything everyone says with a grain of salt, you know, it's going to be rough in the beginning.
Yeah.
There's going to be people who have been doing this for a long time, there's people who are in the same boat as you, and some people are going to be really friendly, willing to help, and you know, be grateful for those people. I know I like some of those people that helped me out in the very beginning, or some of my closest friends, I'll always like message them out. It's a lot of people in New York and New Jersey, and then there have been people who are just like very critical in the beginning, and it's just like, ooh, I mean, like, yes, you're right, but that, oh, my ego like stings a little bit, and you know, you have to be ready for all of that.
Mhm.
But definitely like find your people. You know, you have yourself, and you might be amazing at whatever you do, but you know, music, like I said, is a collaborative effort always, so
Yeah.
and everyone's going to have their strengths, and everyone has their weaknesses, of course, but like someone is going to be much better at something else than that you might not be as good at, and you know, you probably are going to want their help at some point, so you know, always be gracious, always be ready to you know, and willing to work with people. So yeah, just find your people, as a thing I would say if you're starting out, for sure.
Yeah, that's actually huge, because you can be like, again, like super talented, but you don't have those right people to help you elevate to the next
Yes.
level. You know, and
Yes.
that's a huge thing with artists. Um, or they'll just work with that same person not giving them the results,
Yes.
and things like that. So yeah, that's definitely some good advice and tips.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I've heard so many like in the community like just rumors about like, and I don't like listening to rumors, but it's just like,
Yeah,
it's the unfortunate thing is it's such a close knit community. If you hear that someone is hard to work with, you're not gonna be inclined to, you know, work with them. And
yeah,
you know, you're gonna be like, I've heard like, you know, they're not very, you know, open-minded or very easy to work with. And so I don't know, I'm gonna maybe go in the direction of someone who might not be as great of a singer or great of a pianist, but I heard they were such a delight to work with, and you know, they were cool. So
yeah.
go in
Just
that
their
direction. Like,
basically like their passion and dedication is way more better than
yeah,
the egotistic singer that you've been trying to
yeah,
work with.
exactly, yeah,
Or
for
artist or
sure.
musician.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
cool.
yes.
Dig it. Well, thank you very much again, guys. This is Denise Ramirez. She teaches piano and voice and violin here at Pulse Music School. So sign up for a lesson. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you. Have a good
All
rest of
right.
your day.
Yes, you too. Bye.